Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashyakritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaye Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Namah Pranavaर्थाय Shuddha-jnanaika-murtaye Nirmalaya Prashantaye Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryan Karavavahe Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Om Apyayantu Mamangani
Apyayantu mamangani
Vak Pranas Chakshus Shrotramato Balamindriyani Cha Sarvani
वाक्प्राणचक्षुश्रोत्रमतो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि
Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam
सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदम्
Aham Brahma Nirakuryam
अहं
Ma Brahma Nirakarot
मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत्
Anirakaranamastvanirakaranam me astu
निराकरणमनातु
Tadatmani nirateya upanishatsu dharmaste mayi santu
तदात्मानि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मस्थितं सन्तु
te mayi santu
ते मयि सन्तु
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
All prayers should support the human endeavor towards moksha purushartha. Generally, when we pray, we often pray for some immediate perceived problems to be removed, some immediate perceived obstacles into what we are trying to achieve to be eliminated, so that we can achieve those immediate goals. Shastra does not reject them. But purpose of the whole human life is moksha. If you look at the traditional ways of doing things, our way of life, the food we eat, the language we use, everything is designed to help us head towards moksha jnana. The values that we follow, everything. Especially when you're doing a prayer before studying an Upanishad. We saw the very meaning of the word Upanishad is gaining this knowledge of self, of Brahman, which removes all the negatives, which then negates the entire samsara from its very roots. So the prayer for any Upanishad must focus on moksha jnana. That is what we are studying. The subject matter of every Upanishad is moksha jnana. Moksha jnanam is also called Brahma jnanam it is also called Atmajnana. It's the same thing. Because moksha is jnanam of Brahman, of the self, of Ishvara, because everything being the same. No different. We start with, when we get to beginning of our own analysis and thinking, a faith-based Ishvara. Everybody does it, worldwide. Even the one who claims, I'm an atheist, I don't believe in God, has some kind of an idea in his head. Based on faith, based on belief. He hasn't really gone through any detailed analysis. That's how we start. And we ask for Ishvara, that Ishvara's grace. Then as we understand, we slowly begin to understand this whole Jagat has to have a single Karanam. And then in that stage, we begin to understand Ishvara as Sarvam. Sarva Karanam. Being Sarva Karanam, everything is that. Where we are trying to reach is to gain that Brahmajnanam based understanding of Ishvara, where we can safely say, Soham, that I am. It requires re-looking at a lot of things firmly established over not days, months, years, but over many generations, many lives. This prayer also is something like Apyayantu mamangani vak pranas chakru stotram atho balam indriyani cha sarvani. Because from that Upanishad, we gain to understand Sarvam Brahma. Upanishad. From the Upanishad. That's where our understanding has to come at the second level. That this entire Jagat is nothing but Ishvara. Sarvam Brahma Upanishadam. And I need to stand committed to gaining this knowledge of Brahman. Therefore, may I never reject, negate Ishvara, Brahman. Maham Nirakuryam. Nor do we want at any point ever to lose Ishvara Anugraham. Mama Brahma Nirakarot. Ma Nirakarot. Mam Ma Nirakarot. This Anirakaranam may remain. Anirakaranam may astu. Mutual acceptance. We're still in Dvaitam. We're still in the state of Sarvakaranam Brahma. That may remain. Mama Brahma Nirakurya Anirakaranamastu Arinakaranam may astu. How? Atmani nirate. May my absorption in Brahman remain unwavering. Nirakaranam. Anirakaranam may astu Tad Atmani Nirate, staying focused and never losing sight of my mumukshutvam. Why is it important? Because everything I do has to be in relation to that Purushartha. If I lose sight of that, I will look at short-term gains. I may not follow what Upanishads tell me to do, what Vedas tell me that I should do, and may not avoid what it tells me not to do. When we don't follow the injunctions of the Veda to do what is to be done, the chances are that we will do something which is not to be done. Again, it is something to take you away from that Purushartha, Moksha Purushartha. Therefore, Atmani Nirate, remaining absorbed completely, Ram Dhatu, remaining occupied completely in Brahman. Yesterday we were discussing that as you begin to absorb this more and more and more, your interest in talking about anything else slowly starts waning. Your absorption is completely in the idea of Brahman and understanding that idea of Brahman. From the Ram Dhatu, this and Ram, may I be one who remains steadfast, never losing thought of Brahman. Initially of Ishvara, and as I learn more of Brahman. Tadatmani nirate. And how do I do that? By recognizing what the Vedas tell me are values that I should follow. Because anything else I do will prevent me from doing this. So anything that is said to me by the Vedas that I should follow, any value I should follow, may I have those values. Tadatmani nirate ya Upanishadsu. In the Upanishad, all the Upanishadsu, including Bhagavad Gita, may all those qualities, may all those elements which gives me adhikaritvam be in me. Upanishadsu dharmaha, those values may I have. I understand that if I don't have those values, if I get distracted by ragadvesha only, cutting corners, then achieving this Moksha Purushartha is going to be more and more difficult. Therefore, Tadatmani Nirate, abiding in Brahman, following all the qualities that are required, values that are required. Yeah, Upanishads to Dharmaha, te mai santu, may I have those qualities. May I be a true adhikari. And I repeat it. Te mai santu, may they be in me. And as always, we end by saying, Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Even this pronunciation of Shanti Shanti Shanti, you have to understand. The first Shanti is followed by a second Shanti, the Shakara, There's a visarga between them. It should be pronounced as Shanti Shanti. There's a half sakara that will come in between. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. The third one, there is nothing following. Shanti. It's not Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Why do we say it 3 times? This is also meant for the same purpose that there are so many obstacles in my way in gaining this Atma Jnana. If there were not, how come so many more people don't gain this Atma Jnana? Only a handful of people get the Atma Jnana. Because there are, in human endeavor in this direction, all kinds of obstacles which prevent us from gaining this. And these obstacles could be my own, could be external to me, could be something I don't even know. All of these get clubbed into these 3 broad categories. So the first Shanti says, all kinds of adhyatmika pratibandhaha, may they be made Shanti. What are the kind of pratibandhas we have individually? My health issues, which you're already praying for in the mantra itself. My mind is disturbed. I am hurt. I feel guilty because I did not do something I should have done. All these are my own. Adhyatmika. May those obstacles not prevent me from being able to do Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam. My hearing goes, I can no more do Shravanam. My mind, the cells start dying before I understand. Mananam becomes difficult. Memory goes. My physical body doesn't stand up to sitting in a lecture for 1 hour. My attention goes to those pains and aches. May these not be there. Even if there are pains, there are bound to be pains. It's a physical body, it will have pains. May those pains not distract me. Adhyatmikam. May they not be Adi Bhautikam. There's the second category. Other bhutas, including other human beings, non-human beings, which might draw me away from this endeavor. I am trying to attend classes. As it is, I'm having a lot of difficulty because half the things I hear in class, I can't remember later. I try to tell a friend, what did Swami say in the class today? He talked something about Shanti. But tell me, what did he tell you? He said something. He said something, so very good, I thought was excellent. We don't remember. We have enough problems of our own. As it is, you're struggling. And a friend comes and says, hey, listen, I've got 2 passes for the India-Australia match. Forget class. Come. Adi Bhautikam. Other bhutas. When we were studying, we're all sitting on the floor. Most of them. Some of them are sitting on chairs. And Swamiji is doing serious class, okay? And suddenly there's a lot of commotion in the hall. What happened? Some external insect, after all, Anekati, where we studied, is in the jungle. Some insect, I don't even remember what insect it was, came and started crawling. That insect was also obviously very scared. But everybody was scared. Nobody was listening to Swamiji. Till the whole distraction could be removed, no class. In fact, for quite some time, Swamiji went on thinking that everybody is listening very carefully. Nobody was paying attention. Everybody was focusing on that insect. Adi Bhautikam. And the third category of obstacles, I have no control over. I don't even know what it is. Out of the blue, when I'm sitting and doing Shravanam, there's an earthquake. Nothing I can do. So the whole class is disrupted. Adi Daivigam. Something else that happens, not attributable to the individual, not attributable to the other beings, but something else happens. So our prayer is always ended with these three Shanti. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Saying, I'm starting the study of Upanishads, Kenopanishad in this case. I'm trying to understand. I've been studying for a few years now. Sometimes it looks like I understand. Sometimes it looks like, ये क्या समझ नहीं आ रहा है. Please help make sure that I understand. I know it has to be there. I know I have to get that understanding. I have the Shraddha. But I'm struggling. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. With that prayer, you can enter into the Bashyam. As in many cases, Bhashyakara writes an introductory Bhashyam, called the Sambandha Bhashyam. It essentially introduces the idea of the Upanishad. Many times, the Sambandha Bhashyam is in fact excellent just to read. It does not refer to any particular mantra, but it takes some general concepts and ideas. Many times, Bhashyakara will tackle objections. People saying to gain moksha, you have to do karma. Who cannot then explain how does Mundaka Upanishad say, Nakrit Kritena? You're going to gain something which is not going to be gained by doing. Very categorically, Upanishad itself says. But they will argue that bulk of the Upanishad is only karma. Why would he make such a bulky this thing with so much of it only in karma if that is not the purpose of moksha? That is not leading to moksha. Like that, there are several arguments. And when the Siddhantan counters it, they'll come up with a compromise solution. No. Then it must be jnana karma samuchaya. Both will be required. You cannot do without one. That also Bhashyakara rejects out of hand. There can be no compromise on this. Moksha is jnanam. Because moksha is already an accomplished fact. Siddha vastu. There's nothing to do. It is already there. What are you going to do? You only have to recognize this. Nothing new you're going to create. The only thing is, when you want to recognize this, you need the buddhi given to us. And the buddhi has to be in a state which can recognize this. You remember we said Arsha means that which came from the Rishi. The seer. Rishyate pashyate iti Rishi. He who sees. How did he see? How did the Rishis see? We are born in this land where we have, despite all the brainwashing, most of us carry a certain respect, sometimes grudging respect for the Rishis. We know they knew something I don't know. How did they get that? By the efforts they made to tune their thinking, their brain, their entire being to be in alignment with that. Then they received it. And they are now trying to pass it on to us. And we have to be in tune to receive that. So every step of the way, we have to be prepared. And for that, karma is mandatory. How am I going to create a situation for myself? I have to create Atma Shuddhi, Chitta Shuddhi. What is the Chitta Shuddhi? A mind which is not pulled in different directions by laukika, short-term, anitya goals, driven by my own raga dvesha. That is Atma Shuddhi. My focus is clear, Atma Jnanam. I go here, I go here, I go there. You remember the Ratha imagery, where it talked about the horses being the senses. They need to be kept under control by the reins. If you let the reins loose, wherever the horses go, where they find grass, that is not where you want to go. You feed them grass, that's different. But you have a goal, you're trying to go somewhere, horses will go where they find grass or water. So that mind which is not driven here by raga, here by dvesha, that mind which remains focused on this Atma Jnanam has to be built through karma. That is the importance of karma. People do karma sometimes to say that I will do this karma in order to go to Swargaloka. Not wrong. Because Vedas specify clearly, Nachiketa Agnihi, you do that, but Nachiketa Agni also has a lot of other things you have to do. To go to another loka. After death, you can't go to any loka here. But karma done with the purpose of chitta shuddhi is preparation, getting ready, adhikaritvam, a necessary condition for gaining that knowledge which already exists. Tatvamasi. And chitta naishchalya, the ability of the mind to remain consistently staying with moksha jnanam as the goal through upasana. Karma includes prayers. Prayer also includes upasana. All the japa you do, meditation you do, mental activities you do, which allows the mind to train itself for chitta ekagrata, remaining steady. In the very prayer we said that just now. Atmani nirate, remain unwavering. So Bhashyakara will take it up in a big way in many places. That look, don't talk karma as a means for moksha. It is not. It is a necessary condition for chitta shuddhi. It is a necessary condition for chitta naishchalya. And those are necessary conditions for gaining a status where you're ready to receive this knowledge. But they are not the direct means. In Atma Bodha, Shankaracharya says, like for cooking, fire is the direct means. There may be others, but they are not the direct means. Here, jnanam is the only means. So he argues on that quite a lot in many of the bhashya that you see. Introductory bhashya, sambandha bhashya. Even Bhagavad Gita, there is a long sambandha bhashya. Here also, in Kenopanishad, he started a sambandha bhashya. And this bhashya, in fact, the entire Kenopanishad has something very unique. Bhashyakara has written two types of bhashya, which is unusual. There is what he calls pada bhashya, and the one he calls vakya bhashya. Therefore, in your book, you will find in every page there is pada bhashya and there is vakya bhashya. Both say the same thing. Vakya bhashya goes into some more details in terms of the arguments. But pada bhashya gives you the same message, which is what we will take up. Also in the Sambandha Bhashya is given both Pada Bhashya and Vakya Bhashya. Kenopanishad is one of the 10 Upanishads on which Shankara has written Bhashya. Sometimes they are called major Upanishads. There's nothing major or minor about any Upanishad. Every Upanishad gives us the same message, including those, many of those for which Bhashyakara has not written Bhashya. Like Kaivalya Upanishad, for example. There's no Bhashya for that. But this is also an equally important Upanishad. The 10 for which he's written Bhashya include Isha Kena Katha Prashna Mundaka Mandukya Taitreya Aitreya Chandogya and Bradarnika. He has taken these from all the four Vedas. We saw Kenopanishad earlier from Krishna Yajurveda. This is from Samaveda. Kenopanishad and the other Upanishad for which Bashyam is available, Chandogya Upanishad, are from the Samaveda. Samaveda, typically many of the mantras are sung in Samaveda. At the end of Taittiriya Upanishad is like Kenopanishad, Krishna is Veda. But the end is very interesting. It says, having understood, the person will go singing Samagana. So those of you remember Taittiriya Upanishad, it ends up with does it? This Samaveda is, and this Kenopanishad is the 9th chapter. And in the previous 8 chapters, all the karma have been described, upasana have been described, in order to get ready for this 9th chapter. So Bhashyakara, when in his Sambandha Bhashya, refers to this. He actually connects a lot of things when he writes Bhashyam. Starts with the word Kena, by which. Kaha kauke kamke kaha Kena kabhyam kaihi. By which or by whom? And like every other Upanishad, this is also a dialogue between teacher and student. The question being asked by the student, and in answer, the teacher gives Brahmajnana. Called Kenopanishad because the first word happens to be Kena, nothing else. Every Upanishad, like I said, there is Samanvaya, same message. But we study different Upanishads because each takes a different perspective of the same knowledge and helps us learn that knowledge. Firm it up. So this is called Kena Upanishad. Mundaka Upanishad, as God knows, Mundaka literally means frog. We only distinguish one Upanishad from another Upanishad. We read the Bhashya. Keneshitam
Keneshitam
Ityadi Upanishad
Ityadi Upanishad
Parabrahma Vishaya Vaktavya
Parabrahma Vishaya
Vishaya
Vaktavya
Vaktavya
Iti Navamasya Adhyayasya
Iti
Iti
Navamasya
Navamasya
Adhyayasya
Adhyayasya
Arambaha
Arambhaha
Kene Ishitam. Kene Ishitam is the first word. Ityadi Upanishad Parabrahma Vishaya Vaktavya. This is the 9th, it says in the next line. Iti Navamasya Adhyayasya Arambaha. The 9th Adhyaya, after having finished 8 Adhyaya, he started with this. When you start a new chapter, there will be a purpose for the new chapter. What is the purpose for the new chapter? So he says, Parabrahma Vishaya Vaktavya. talks about Parabrahma. Before that, it didn't talk about Parabrahma. Here only it starts talking about Parabrahma. Before that is all preparation only. So, Parabrahma Vishaya Vaktavya iti Navamasya Adhyayasya Arambaha. We begin the 9th chapter of this. We look at the footnote, it says, Jaya Upanishad Samavediya Talavakara Shaka ka Navam Adhyaya. Talavakara. There used to be a gym in Bombay called Talwalkars. You know that it is different. Talavakara. The 9th chapter of that. What are there before the 8 chapters? That also Bhashyakara talks about. Prag etasmat
Prag etasmat
karmani asheshatah
karmani asheshatah
parisamapitani
parisamapitani
etasmat prag. Prior to this chapter, prior to starting this chapter, between the first 8 chapters, asheshatah karmani parisamapitani. All karma that needs to be done have been completely told. Asheshatah, without any baki. All the necessary karma required for Atma Shuddhi as well as for Chitta Naishalya have been given in the previous chapter. That is what it says. Prag etasmat karmani asheshatah parisamapitani. They have been told fully, completely. Samasta
samasta
karmashraya bhutasya cha
karmashaya bhutasya
pranasya upasanani
pranasya upasanani
uktani
ani
karmanga sama vishayani cha.
karmanga sama vishayani cha.
Not only karma, all karma, karmani asheshata parisamapitani, also samasta karmashraya bhutasya cha pranasya. Any karma you want to do, any upasana you want to do, it has to be a live body. You don't expect a stone to do karma because stone cannot gain moksha jnana. It has to be a live body, living body. Therefore, pranasya upasana uktani. It also talked about upasana, which include all the manasik activities like dhyanam, japa, ityadi, also have been given, which are sama-based. So he says, karmanga sama vishayani cha. They also angas of the same thing. Agnihotra you do. Darsha Purnamasa you do. These are all activities, karma, and the upasanas that go with it. So having done these karma and upasana, then you are now getting ready for moksha jnanam. Anantaram cha Gayatra Sama Vishayam Darshanam
Gayatra sama vishayam darshanam
Vamshantam Uktam Karyam.
vamshantam uktam karyam.
Thereafter, Anantaram, having done all the 8 chapters of karma, like Dasapurnamasa, Agnihotra ityadi, and done upasana. Some of the upasanas is mentioned, Gayatra Sama Vishayam. Gayatra Upasana. Those have also been described. Vamshantam Uktam Karyam. The tradition that comes in that particular Veda. Every Veda has its own rituals and traditions, you know that. So, Gayatra Samavishayam Darshanam Vamshantam Uktam Karyam. So it is in an introductory way, Bhattakara says, all the karma and upasana have been described. Now one who wants to practice has to learn them and do them. That is the specialty of Karma Kanda. So this 8 chapters talk about karma. One has to learn them and either do them or get them done by a Pandit. Upasana, you can't typically ask somebody else to do. But karma, puja, yajna, etc., one can have a ritvik to that. Sarvam etat yatoktam karma
Etoktam karma
karma cha jnanam cha
कर्म च ज्ञानं च
samyak anushtitam
सम्यक्
samyak
अनुष्ठितं
anushtam
nishkamasya mumukshoho
निष्कामस्य
nishkamasya
मुमुक्षोः
mumukshoho
tattva shuddhyartham bhavati
सत्त्वशुद्ध्यर्थं भवति
samati.
etat sarvam yatoktam karma. All this karma that have been told in the first 8 chapters and jnanam is upasana. All those have to be followed correctly in order that you get ready for moksha jnana. So he says, sarvam etat sarvam yatoktam karma cha jnanam cha. These karma and upasana which have been told have to be followed, have to be understood and performed. How? Samyak anushtitam. Correctly done, correctly followed. This is one of the issues. If you remember when we're talking about Nachiketa Agnihi, the mantra said, Yamadharmaraja gave Nachiketa not only the mantra, but all that needs to go with it. Because it has no fun, no phalan, no phalam. It has to be done exactly the way it is to be done, including the ucharana of the mantra. Mantra ucharanam has to be done exactly that way. That is why you find that no Vedic mantra should ever be chanted any differently. Gayatri mantra must be chanted in the way of Gayatri mantra. Pronunciation, swaras, everything has to be correct. You cannot have one matra less or one matra more. You can't have alpa prana in place of mahaprana. That is why it's important that we understand basic Sanskritam. There have been experiments which show that mantras like Gayatri mantra, Rudram, when chanted correctly, and then they've tried all kinds of experiments, looked at how the brain waves work, how the frontal cortex grows, have shown that when done correctly, they have very positive impact on all of that. They bring the mind down to a calm state, if done correctly. Samyak is important. Samyak Anushtitam. The one who follows all this, who is the one who follows all this correctly, who does all this correctly? Nishkamasya mumukshoho. Now you can do this karma that has been specified with an objective, with a sankalpa that I want to go to so-and-so loka at the end of this janma. Nothing wrong. But then such a person is not a mumukshu. He hasn't understood moksha as his purushartha. But for a mumukshu, what kind of mumukshu? Nishkamasya. One who doesn't have a raga, dvesha, which disturb himself. No laukika kamas which distract him. Nishkamasya mumukshoho bhochashti sattva shuddhyartham bhavati. Here, sattva is atma. Cleansing himself, inside and outside. Sattva shuddhyartham bhavati. Meant for the atma shuddhi. All the karma is meant for atma shuddhi. A simple act of achamaniyam is supposed to give you shuddhi. We do a lot of times when we do puja, we do achamaniyam. And the mantra that goes with achamaniyam is
Achyutaya Namaha.
Anantaya Namaha, Govindaya Namaha. Then what? Apavitra pavitro va sarvavastha gatopi va. Yasmaret pundarikaksham bahya bhyantaram shuchihi. You're trying to cleanse yourself inside and out. That means you want not to be distracted by something else away from what you're trying to do. Therefore, for that, moksha jnanam, this atma shuddhi is very important, and for that he says, you have to be nishkama mokshuhu samyak anushtitam. Both karma and jnanam samyak anushtitam, as prescribed in the previous chapters. Sakamasya tu jnana rahitasya
Jnanarahitasya
kevalani shrautani smartani cha
Kevalani Shrautani Smartani
Smartani
Cha
Cha
karmani dakshina marga pratipattaye
Karmani Dakshina Marga
Dakshinamagga
Pratipataye
Pratipatye
पुनरावृत्तये च भवन्ति.
Punaravrite Cha Bhavanti.
He said in the previous line, he used the word nishkamasya. For a mumukshu who has the vairagya, there's nishkama. His only focus, only goal is moksha. He may pray saying that the process of moksha, please make it comfortable. But his focus is moksha, never changes from there. But suppose it's not there. Suppose people do this karma and upasana not for moksha, but suppose they do it for a kama, sankalpa. Then what happens? That will also have phala, no? It's not that it's not going to have phala. It's a karma. It's a shastrokta karma. Therefore, it should have palan. What is the palan? If the person is sakama, kamena saha, one who has a desire for an end, a recognizable, seeable, palpable end, Sakamasya tu. The tu is very important here. On the other hand, if the person were to do this etad uktam karma cha jnanam with the kama, because that also our karma kanda tells us, no, you want to get to this loka, you do this. It is there. So if somebody is doing it with that purpose, so kamasya tu jnana rahitasya. What jnanam doesn't have? Or does he not have? He doesn't have jnanam of the fact that a moksha is my purushartha. He doesn't have the jnanam. Not moksha jnanam even. The jnanam that there is a moksha that I can achieve. Jnana rahitasya. But he is a religious person. He follows all the instructions given in the Veda. He lives a life of dharma. So what happens to him? Sakamasya tu jnana rahitasya. What does he do? Kevalani shrautani smartani cha. He does all the karma as prescribed in the Vedas. Shrautani, as given by the Shruti, and as dictated by life, smarthan, my memory, smaranam, all the smritis that are there. It follows all that. So, kevalani shrautani smartani cha karmani. What happens to him? Dakshina marga pratipattaye. At the end, these things, remember, give only effect after the body falls. What happens? There is a journey. Prayana kalam, at the end of the fall of the body, there's a prayana. And it is said there, we saw this also in the end of Kenopanishad. A Dakshina Marga and Uttara Marga. Chapter 8 of Bhagavad Gita. Akshar Brahma. They go Dakshina Marga Pratipattaye. That means they go to various lokas, depending upon the kind of karma and upasana they've done. In fact, only karma. If they go to various lokas, Dakshina Marga, are people who do karma. That's why he says here, Jnana rahitasya kevalani shrautani smartani cha karmani. They follow those karmas strictly. Their journey will take them to various lokas through the Dakshina Marga. What is the characteristic of the Dakshina Marga? Punaravrittaye cha bhavanti. They go, come back. It is not moksha. They go to whichever loka they are destined for, enjoy themselves in that loka, because all these lokas are supposed to be higher lokas, which is where you will go if you do all the karma, anushtanam, where there are only positives. Enjoy it for whatever time period that your punya allows you to do that. Then punaravarti. Come back to go through the whole cycle again. Punaravrittaye cha bhavanti. Dakshina marga pratipattaye punaravrittaye cha bhavanti. They gain this Dakshina marga, but they come back. We've seen this, different type of people, where they go, what happens to them at the end of the birth, depending upon what they do and what their attitude is. We will look at that in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.
धन्यवादः पुनर्मिलामः।
ओम स्वामी जी।